Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Got the D-Man here, and I'm glad you could join me today. As always, it's a cloudy, cool day in St. Louis, Missouri today. Hope it's wonderful in your part of the world, wherever that may be. And today we're going to continue the topic of resilience. In this article I found in the American Psychological Association, it's about resilience in the time of war. And it seems like we're always in a time of war somewhere in the world today, and yesterday, and for thousands of years. That's just how we are as human beings. Unfortunately, we are warring individuals. Since the beginning of time. One day we may evolve past that, but today we have not gotten that far. But let's have hope. Someday we will rise above. So this article is about how to be an example of resilience for your children, how to encourage them and lessen their fear in times of war, whether it be in your country or in another part of the world, and it's on the news, CNN, wherever. Children become aware of it, and if they see that you are frightened and unsure of things, they will pick up that same thing from you. They will feel those same feelings. So it's important that you set an example of faith, hope, and strength during times of war. An example of optimistic attitudes, outlooks, and optimism about the future of the world and wherever you are in that world. So let's go. Number one, talk with your children. When they have questions, answer them honestly, but simply and with reassurance. Ask them what they think is happening and listen to their answers. Listen to your children. Out of the mouths of babes comes wisdom that you will not get anywhere else if you listen. They are closer to source, to God, to divinity, to the ultimate power than you and I are, because it hasn't been programmed out of them yet. Listen to them. Okay, listen to their answers. You may learn something. Listen to the message. Just because the messenger is young doesn't mean the message is not valid and important. Be ready for questions that may be difficult to answer, such as, why do they hate us, and will Daddy die when he's fighting over there? Or nowadays, will Mommy die when she's fighting over there? Women in war. Not too many women on the front lines. Thank God for masculine men. Okay, number two, use your family like a security blanket for your children. Wrap them up in family closeness, especially during a time of war. Make sure your children have lots of family time. Spend more time with your children playing games, reading to them, or just holding them close. Love your children. They need your attention. Are you giving your attention to your children or to your phone, to your iPhone? Your children want you to look at them. Don't just look directly in their eye when you're getting on them when they are in trouble. Look directly into their eyes, stop everything, and speak to them. Focus on them, what they say, their needs, their wants. But they are children. Don't give them everything they want. That wouldn't be good for them. Just as God doesn't give you everything you want, and later you look back and you're glad he didn't. Or the universe, divinity, whatever your conception of a higher power is, if you have one. Okay, 3, limit the amount of news your children watch during a time of war. The news is very difficult to get away from. I was going through the bank drive-through the other day, and now you don't actually look at the person. They have a video camera there. And in between, when you're talking to the attendant, they put the news on there. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to the news. I have all the notifications of the news off of my phone. If it's important enough, someone will tell me. Some people may say that's sticking your head in the sand. Well, I think sometimes you're better to stick your head in the sand. I don't need to know if 15 children were brutally murdered in the South China Sea. There's nothing I can do about it, and I don't need to know about it. Okay? These things have been going on since the beginning of time, but we didn't have 24-hour headline news, TVs everywhere in the world. You can't hardly get away from it, especially if you travel in the airports, blaring it into your face day in and day out, 24 hours a day. You don't need all the negativity. Now, if they posted positive things 24 hours a day, can you imagine how much better the world would be? Because whatever you focus on grows, and the news focuses on negativity, disaster, terrible things that are happening, things that you don't want to happen to you, things that happen in the world. Yes, they've been happening since the beginning of time, but there are many, many wonderful things that happen every day, loving acts every day. You have to search for those things. They're out there. But the news blasts negativity, terrible happenings, tragedies into your face every day, through the radio, through the TV, through bulletins, through ads, through social media. I say stay away from that as much as possible. It doesn't help you. Junk in, junk out. Negativity in, negativity out. It reminds me of the old poster I seen on a wall, the old Indian saying. The young Indian asked the old Indian, he says, Father, inside of me, I feel like there is an eagle and a wolf. And the old Indian says, well, which one will rule? And the young man says, I don't know, Father. And the father says, whichever one you feed the most. So which one are you feeding the most today? The eagle or the wolf? Feed the eagle. Let the wolf starve. The wolf of negativity. Let that starve within you. Number 4. During a time of war, map out a routine and stick to it. Young children like routines and rituals. If bedtime is the time you read stories to your children, make sure you keep that time for stories. Your child may be less able to handle change at home when the world situation is unstable. I really see no reason for children to even know what's going on out in the world when there's war. I mean, they don't need to be watching the news. They don't need to be looking at the cell phone. They don't need to see these terrible things, because the news sometimes has a tendency to magnify situations. For example, I live here in St. Louis, and they had a situation, I think it was in Ferguson a few years back. The news portrayed it like it was all over the city. It's the way they use the cameras and they set things up. It was actually just a few blocks. St. Louis is gigantic, but people from other parts of the world, when I would travel, would say, man, things are really terrible over there in your country. And I'm like, it's just like 3 blocks where the riot was, okay? They tore up some buildings, but if you think about all the buildings and all the people, and just in St. Louis, which is not one of the largest cities in the U.S., it was minuscule. But the news magnifies it like it's something happening all over the country, like everything is just falling apart. But that's how they get people to watch. It's very ingenious of them, because they want viewers, and they want more viewers. And if they can frighten people, then more people will watch to see what's going to happen next. I understand why they do it, but it doesn't help society. It doesn't foster or nurture loving relationships between all people. It actually does the opposite. It separates people. Okay? Number 5, make sure you take care of yourself. Your children read your face for clues as to how to feel. If they fall down and see concern on your face, they will be much more likely to decide that fall hurts. Similarly, if your face reflects the stress and fear you may feel in a time of war, they will pick up on that. Many people find that turning to a higher power, whether through organized religion or privately, can help. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your children. It's like the old adage they say, if you're in the airplane and the oxygen masks drop, put yours on first and then help your family or help the person next to you. Because obviously if you can't breathe and you pass out, you can't help anyone else. So taking care of yourself is not selfish. If you do not take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. You must first take care of yourself. I know that sounds selfish and contrary to what a lot of people say, but obviously if you have no peace, no contentment, no security, no faith, you can't pass that on to your children or to anyone else. As a man, you need to have inner strength and not allow these things to move you. Your family looks to you as a man for strength. If they see you shaken, they will feel shaken. If they see you feeling confident, they will feel confident, especially your wife, your lover, your girlfriend, your partner. They have to see confidence, strength, and an inner feeling of everything's going to be okay within you. And if they see that within you as the leader, they will feel the same way. Many men have marched into death because the leader showed faith and confidence. They followed him because he led. He led with that inner strength and confidence. He may have been afraid, but he had enough belief in himself and his men that he marched in and usually conquered. And even if he didn't, the men followed him because they believed in him because he believed in himself. Use play to help your children express their fears about what is happening. Encourage them to use art or pretend games to express what they may not be able to put into words. What are your children watching at daycare? Do they have the TV on there? What are those people talking about? What are they fearful of? Remember that when you put your child in daycare. I realize some of you have to. But remember, some of you may only have to because you want the 2 Escalades outside, you want the $500,000 or $1 million home. When I was a child, most people just had 2-bedroom homes. Some of us only had 1 car. Only the doctors and lawyers had the bigger houses and 2 cars. Sure, you have to work as a woman or your wife has to work as a woman if you want all these material things. Okay, cut back on the material. Because I'm telling you what, your relationships are the most important thing in your life. When you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to reminisce about the jet skis you had or the motorcycles you had or the storage lockers you rented because you couldn't get all your material stuff in your 2-car garage, which is already full, plus your basement. You're working to support these things and not supporting your children. I realize we all have to work. But think about it. Do you really have to work? Could you cut back on some things? That's really something to think about. What are you showing your kids that is most important in your life? Is it the material things or is it the relationships? The value you put on your children? Do they see you working hard to make money but not having time for them, allowing a minimum wage daycare worker to raise them and impart their fears and their insecurities on your children? I understand, I'm not judging, I'm just giving you something to think about. Think about that. What's important in your life? That's all we got time for today. Smash that like button, subscribe, and we will continue tomorrow with resilience. Have a great day.